CNN's Harry Enton with polling numbers, and their debate watchers who won the presidential debate.
And for their candidates, we wanted to know what debate watchers thought. CNN senior data reporter Harry Enton is here with a brand new suit, by the way.
Oh, yes.
He's also running the numbers. That's a new one. I know I'm right?
It's a tan. I haven't worn this in years. I don't know if it's brand new, but it's brand new for you, and I wanted to match you.
A tan suit, by the way.
Tan and a little tan.
We're matching. All right. What did you find here?
Pause it for a second. This was their, hey guys, you know how what's his face on MSNBC, Kornacki, and the other, they have these fun back and forth. Will you try some of that? Is there any way we could do a little bit of that?
It's also
he's the
in the
numbers guy.
morning.
We want it to be the numbers guy.
It's in the morning, right? So they're also doing morning show banter.
This was received.
Yeah, I'm just going to use a scientific term, and that is that the vice president crushed Donald Trump. All right, so how did the vice president, how much did she crush him by? Look at this. First debate winner margins. Look at that. She won by a 26-point margin, nearly matching Trump's margin over Biden back in June when he won by 34 points. Very similar to Joe Biden's margin of over Donald Trump back in 2020 of 32 points, and significantly higher than the 2016 margin that Hillary Clinton had over Donald Trump in their first debate, just 13 points. But the bottom line here is debate watchers, and they actually leaned a little bit more Republican than the nation as a whole, believe that Kamala Harris easily won this debate. Again, the scientific term is she crushed former President Donald Trump.
All right. Will we see, though, a change in the polls, a rise or a bump for Harris?
I think that the most likely scenario is that you will, in fact, see a rise in the polls. Why? Take a look at the last 4 times we had a first debate and look at those winners. Did they see a rise in the polls? Yes. Mitt Romney in 2012, Hillary Clinton 2016, Joe Biden 2020, and Donald Trump earlier this year. They all saw rises in the polls of 2 points or more. And given how close this race is nationally, given how close it is in the swing states, do not be surprised if Kamala Harris jumps out to a lead nationally, and don't be surprised if she jumps out to a slight, small lead in those key battleground states. It should still probably be a close race based upon history, but no doubt, at least based upon history, we should expect Kamala Harris to receive a polling bump, and a race as tight as this one, that would certainly be welcomed.
I got to think that is probably true. And I think the bigger impact is not just going to be sort of like a minor bump in the polling. The bigger impact is she's got now almost a locked in 2 weeks of guaranteed positive coverage, where the coverage was starting to get a little bit soft for her. And then if we're 2 weeks out, you're in, September 25th territory, let's just say.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, everything turns to Vance and to Walz.
Yep.
Because everybody's going to be hyping that next debate. And that's not going to be good for Trump.
I mean, that's how these things work. Like, I'm convinced that in part her slump was the fact that, the high of the convention is over, but she didn't get a very big convention bump, in part because the media coverage before this debate had been entirely about how she's not agreeing to interviews and that she's not detailed enough too, right? Like, these things can create narratives that affect the polling in very small ways and start snowballing. And, some of that criticism was valid, but to your point, this is going to be the narrative for the next, as you say, 2 weeks. Then she's got 2 weeks to bring it back to herself before we're in Walz-Vance territory. And I'm telling that's not going to go well for Vance.
Oh, I don't think so.
There's no chance.
It's gonna take us just like 2 or 3 days just to get out of the eating cats and dogs cycle. That's my guess.
I've been seeing IMs that it's all over TikTok and everybo's circulating.
Oh my God!
Cats and dogs.
It's going to be.
They're eating the dogs. The people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
And this is what you're going to also. The thing that you're going to hear now, of course, in like normal, social media. Normal society, you're going to be hearing about him like he got tricked by an internet hoax to believe that immigrants are eating cats and dogs. Now, the reality is not that he got tricked by an internet hoax that immigrants are eating cats and dogs. It's that he is trying to spur the racism and the xenophobia of his political movement to get out and vote and just using sort of narratives that stoke that. But it's going to come across as he's a crazy old man, which, okay, I think that might be, effective in many respects because sort of, his racism and xenophobia is sort of built in. But the other thing you're going to be hearing in right-wing circles for, I think for the next week is what you hear from Megyn Kelly right here. And Megyn Kelly is really crazy here. It's like she's bleeding from everywhere. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because those two moderators tried to sink Donald Trump tonight. The numerous fact checks on what he said and none on what she said. None. I don't remember a single fact check of anything she said, and she lied repeatedly. She just got away with it. In the moderator's eyes, that was Donald Trump's job to fact check her. That's correct. Except you didn't employ that same tactic when it came to Trump. And you accused him of lying even when it was your opinion that he lied. When Trump tried to say that his comment that he lost 2020 by a whisker was him being sarcastic, David Muir actually injected saying, I didn't hear sarcasm. Who gives a shit what you heard?
Whoa.
Who died and left you political analyst in chief? You're supposed to be the objective news anchor of World News Tonight. That's a comment you make to your significant other, David, not on the debates. It didn't sound like that to me. Shut up. That is inappropriate. It's not for you to make that call. Leave it up to Kamala Harris. Leave it up to people like me who will play the soundbite and let the audience decide. But you were out of line, and they did it to him over and over and over again. And the worst piece of all of this is the obvious tactic by ABC News, which was as follows. Mr. Trump, you said something incredibly controversial and terrible. Let me remind you of what it was. Do you have any regrets or thoughts on how terrible you were? Trump answers. Vice President Harris, how bad is Trump? And then she'd answer. It happened over and over again.
So, I mean, this is just incredible to see because there was a whole freaking movie made about Bombshell, about the sexual harassment at Fox News and her being victimized by it, and like her basically being forced out because she was adversarial to Trump and because of the fact that she ended up speaking out about what Roger Ailes did to her and other women as well. But the reality is like there's no place for her to go anymore. Yeah. Like there's nothing. She tried to pivot to daytime TV. Right. But if you recall, she she left Fox News. She was on the Today Show, I think. Yep. And she sucked because that's like what that Hoda and those women and stuff. That's for like making people happy and showing videos of cats and or what recipe you should do for Halloween or whatever. And she is a cold person who also is a bigot and ended up leaving that network because she's made a bunch of past racist comments about Santa being white or whatever. Like she's a right winger, but she tried to pivot and failed, and now there's no place where she can carve out that middle ground, right?
Now she's just taking Tim Pool.
I mean, now honestly, she's got to interview Dave Rubin multiple times. That I'm not sure anybody deserves that.
I mean, yeah, she's doing.
She flopped, and then she just has to be a standard Republican now because there's no way to differentiate yourself here. She's sucked back into the Trump black hole because she has to make money.
I think that she may have a point with Muir saying it didn't sound sarcastic to me. I think really what would have been more appropriate for him to go like, really? Really?
I'll be honest. I just watched it and it did not sound sarcastic to me.
Well, do you have it?
Shocked.
Let's put it up. Let's let the people decide. Because of course, saying it's sarcastic, I guess if you're Muir, you could have said, In what way is that sarcastic? I don't get it.
Yeah.
But here is the original clip.
Oh, I see. Yes, sorry.
At a Moms for Liberty event.
I mean, honestly, we got millions of more votes than we did in the first election. We did great in the first one, we won. And I was told we got 63 million votes in the first election. I was told that if we get 63 million votes, same number, there's no way we can be defeated. I got 10 or 12 million votes more than that, more than anybody had ever gotten. We got the most votes of anybody, of any sitting president in history. And he beat us by a whisker, and it was a terrible thing. They used COVID to, I mean...
Oh, wait, he says it was a terrible thing, and they used COVID as if, like, if it was sarcastic, you wouldn't start listing why you got beat by a whisker.
Yeah.
Didn't sound sarcastic to me.
That didn't sound sarcastic to me either. I'm not even clear.
Kind of surprised, actually.
Yeah. That's weird. He is maybe, so he thinks sarcastic means lispy, because he is getting a little bit like sort of, in that Italy.
Yes.
I wonder what's going on with that.
And we really heard that in the Elon interview.
Yep.
It seemed like he almost was like had his like dentures out or something,
Right.
Because it was a non-video format.
He's thinking about whiskers because his voice is starting to sound like the Cheshire Cat.
Tough words to say with the denture slipping.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.